If you're an individual focused on your overall well-being here in 2020, then today's episode is one that you'll likely want to tune in for. I have Kathleen, Gramzay, and Erin Monnin joining me for a conversation on essential oils. On today's episode, I have two of my most favorite women here in the local business community. Kathleen, Erin, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
It's always fun to be here.
I feel like I could easily go ahead and sing my praises about both of you, but why don't you guys go ahead and just do a self-introduction about who you are and the impact that you're making personally in the business community?
Yes, I will. Thank you. Hi, my name's Kathleen Gramzay, and I work with the business community and individuals, but mostly the business community in helping people be and do their best through understanding how your body-mind works. And usually, we want to do our best all the time, and then we have things like stress or challenges or things that take us off our game. And so when you understand how your nervous system works and how you react to stress, then you can actually use your body and switch it. So I work with organizations, and I do leadership performance. And then behind that, which is really more what we'll be talking about today, behind that is 20 years as a board certified massage therapist. So out of that came I lived with back pain, and a year after I started my practice, my back went, I had to figure out a smarter way to work or I was done. So I created this method of self-care called kinesage, which is a way to release muscular pain and tension from your body for things like sciatica and carpal tunnel and all these things. So that I worked with people and therapists, and then when I saw the opioid addiction epidemic getting so bad in 2015, I came back into corporate with that and, was doing that, and that was fun. And then I saw how many people were stressed, and I said, okay. So I work with companies and do mind-body health-related things to change how we can be and do our best.
Awesome. And hello, everyone. My name is Erin Monnin, and I am a development officer at St. Vincent de Paul, which is a fancy word for I connect donors and community members to our services and our guests and the needs that we have, and kind of bridge the gap between people in our community's passions with the needs of our community, the working poor and homeless specifically. We feed, clothe, house, heal. So I'm kind of a bridge for those individuals. So that's what I do by day, and what we're here talking about today. I am a huge advocate for health. I personally believe that everyone should be their own health advocate. So I love talking about anything health related. I've had a lot of health issues myself, and essential oils is one of the ways that I have found lots of healing. So that is another passion of mine and what I spend a lot of my outside time doing.
So clearly they're both awesome individuals, and I feel so fortunate because I was able to feature both of you in our Resources for Growth publication. So if anybody's looking for your contact information, that's a good place to find you. But it also is a great point in which it allows us to make connections to the local business community and for the peers that are, included in the publication. So I thought this is such a powerful moment for me because I had the opportunity to connect the two of you together for something that is kind of related to what you do, but it has a potential to really help that many more people here in the business community. So we started having this conversation. Kathleen has been on my podcast before. She's been one of our guest speakers. She is just a phenomenal wellness individual. And we had this conversation about essential oils on our trip to Reno, Nevada. And then Erin and I had another separate conversation about essential oils. And I'm like, I feel like the universe is telling me that we need to have a conversation about essential oils and the power that it can have and how it can help people. So that's why we're here today. We're here to talk about essential oils. And this is a completely different topic than what a lot of my listeners traditionally hear, but I think it's kind of refreshing and something that's worth tuning in for. So as we dive into today's conversation, I would love to hear your journey and how you even got started with this, and why maybe some more people should be a little bit more interested in the power of essential oils.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
I can start this one. So I'm a little bit of a unique case. I was seeking out an opportunity to find natural ways of healing. So I suffer from chronic sinusitis. I have sinus infections all the time, and I have a lot of other health issues that I was trying to find different ways to heal from. So a coworker of mine invited me to a Young Living essential oils party, and I was like, this is my sign, I'm going, like, yes, I'm there. And it was amazing. This woman named Cassie, who's now my friend and mentor, taught the class, shared all of the products with us, and I was immediately very bought in and wanted to know more and do more for myself through these oils. So I've been using them for about a year, and I've just experienced so many health benefits from them in lots of different ways, which we can go into later. But that was kind of my in.
And essential oils, I feel like all of a sudden they just became really popular again. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I finally just opened my eyes. But when it came up, Kathleen and I were traveling, and she shared this amazing tidbit, which I feel like now with all these talks about, bacteria and whatnot. Kathleen, would you mind just sharing that tip that you shared with me about what essential oil can help us when we're traveling?
Sure. Yeah, we were traveling, and one of the big concerns that people always have when they're traveling is, of course, the recycled air on a plane, right? And just being among so many people and all the public spaces. So there are a few oils that I have been traveling with. Literally, I don't travel without them for, I don't know, 20 years since when I found out about them. So they've been around and way longer than that. But really what it is that if you can use a few oils when you travel, then it helps. One in particular is eucalyptus oil. So it's something that most people have heard of, but eucalyptus oil is an antibacterial, and it's also an antiviral. So, which means that it is really good if to be able to kill and bacteria and stuff in your respiratory system. So, if you just take a drop or two of eucalyptus, so I always carry. You can buy them almost any good grocery store, or certainly health food stores, or you can buy them really the high quality products of Young Living or some other of the people that that's what they do. So anyway, you can just take a drop or two in your hand and you just rub it together and then just inhale it. And when you do that, you're helping to, so if you are picking up anything, you can help your body to be able to basically, kill it before it gets to be into anything else. So that's just one.
Yeah, and I love that so much. I was like, wow, that's mind-blowing. You mean all I have to do is just rub my hands together? I don't have to bring all my Lysol wipes and everything, which probably is a good preventative measure.
Right.
But no, I just thought that was fascinating. So the two of you had the opportunity to get together and kind of talk through this in a little bit more detail. I'm curious, what came of that conversation?
That was a fun conversation.
It was, yeah. Kathleen knows so much more than I do about essential oils.
Just more years of practice, right? I've used them for longer.
Yeah,
that's all.
Of course. But I just learned a lot of kind of the scientific background of everything, and a lot of the different ways that she used them, and kind of how she made blends, literally prescription blends for people. And I was like, that is so fascinating, because I'm just starting to learn about the power of blending them together. I usually use them individually. So that was something that struck me. But yeah, honestly, just learning more from each other, and then this podcast.
Yeah, it's really fun because essential oils are such, it seems like a simple subject, right? Okay, it's plant-based oils. And it is a science. And I had the blessing of being able to study with a woman named Jeannie Rose, and she's literally wrote most of the books on it. And I mean, she's the expert. I am someone who studied it and worked in my practice with them for many years, and I did make blends for people, but I literally made a spreadsheet out of 40 oils and all their properties just because to try to keep them straight, really. And then you have to be mindful with them too. They do have contraindications. There are certain oils that you don't use under certain conditions. So it's like anything, right? You want to be mindful and be educated about what you're doing, bless you, to be able to use them most effectively. And and they can do a great deal. But when you think about it, medicine started out from plants, right? So what Western allopathic medicine did was to take that and then extrapolate parts. Well, we've learned, just like with whole foods, that when you have the whole properties, you have all the properties, there is something in the synergism of the whole that has a different exponential value.
So I want to go back to Erin because I know you're just getting into this whole essential oils thing. And I feel like, in a way, you kind of fell into it, but you found another new passion in life. And I feel like, if anything, what I love the most is the fact that you're a continual learner and that you're always like looking to explore new opportunities to learn something different. And that aligns so much with A to Z BizLink and the events that we produce and the people that are commonly in the room. And I know we all are in alignment when it comes to that. So it's been great to see you blossom and grow and to find this new hobby. And it's just, I mean, you help so many people in your day-to-day business, but now you have the ability to help people even on a personal level. So I'd love to know a little bit more about, who are those people that you feel like you can help the most when it comes to the essential oils?
That's a great question. Honestly, everyone. Everyone can be helped by essential oils, but what I found most is when I hear a friend or a family member or someone who's going through certain health issues, reaching out to them and saying, hey, I have something that you could try that might be able to help you with XYZ health problem that you're having. I love sharing my passion with it because everyone deserves to know the natural ways that they can take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. I went through so many different years of taking so many different antibiotics and all these things that my body was literally rejecting. And I realized my last straw was my body just was completely in a disaster when I took an antibiotic for a sinus infection and it was destroying my stomach. And I was like, there has got to be a better way. And I just stopped. I was like, I'm never doing this again. So I have to explore other options. And I think people are just scared. They don't know the benefits that could be there if they just tried something different. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to go to the store and buy a pill. So easy. I could do it right now in 5 minutes and be done. So essential oils are different because they take some time and you have to learn about them and people don't want to take the time. And I've found that time and again in my conversations with people about them. So you just have to be open to it and they really are for everyone. And I've found so many different people, if they just take the time to learn, they can find just one thing, one oil, one product, one whatever that they could try. And that's what it's all about.
So we've already talked about eucalyptus, which I have since bought probably 3 different bottles of eucalyptus oil since I talked to Kathleen. But I'm curious if people are going to start adding different oils to their home collection, what are the key essential ones that you think everybody needs to have?
Well, I could start. I have a few that I carry with me as well and never have leave my side. Young Living has a few different oils for pain, headaches, and stomach issues. So those are the 3 I keep on hand. One of them is peppermint. I've actually avoided taking Motrin, which was one of my goals for a while, by just rubbing peppermint on my head whenever I have a headache, as well as they call it Pan Away. It's essentially Pain Away. It's a blend. So I rub the 2 on my head and headaches are not a thing, as well as an oil called Digize. Anytime you overeat, don't feel well, for whatever reason down there, you can just rub some on or ingest it, and usually it goes away pretty quickly.
And you rub it on your stomach?
Yeah.
See, yeah. I don't know anything about this, so this is fascinating to
me. There's all different ways to use oils, but you can either ingest them if it's safe, or you can rub them or diffuse them, obviously. So.
Yeah. When you think about it, so what makes it so holistic is that you are using substances that are natural to the body, and it's so the body can assimilate. So whether it is on your skin or vapor or you can do it in bath salts. I mean, I used to make a lot of different products for my clients, and it is really fun. When you start getting into it and you really learn, literally you can quit using toxic cleaners in your home. Like literally, lavender in a spray bottle in water. You can clean your counters with that, and it's antibacterial, antifungal, and your house smells better, right? It's not all those toxic chemicals. So when you start to realize there are so many different opportunities to use things that smell good, and they have different properties, they affect the nervous system in different ways. It could be stimulating. So peppermint is stimulating. It could be sedating, which is lavender, it would be a sedating. So there are essential oils. I literally, when I would do, I basically had categories because there's for skin treatments. I used to do blends for people for psoriasis. I've done people stuff for shingles. And certainly headaches. I had a friend when she was going to school, she was getting her degree, and she was like, I need to study and I wanted like more coffee. I was like, here, try this. And I made her a little, I called it a study buddy. And it was literally a little roller, and it was rosemary and in a carrier oil and something else that I can't remember what other things she really liked, but it was another stimulating oil that helped you mentally focus. So having rosemary in your office, you can have in a diffuser, you could be doing that. That helps people be more clear-minded.
Okay, so now I'm telling all my coworkers we better go buy some rosemary for
That's
our
right.
office.
Yeah.
We're going to be that much more
That's
productive.
right. So you already got eucalyptus, lavender,
Peppermint.
And rosemary.
And there is another one for me that is a go-to. Absolutely have to keep is tea tree oil. So tea tree oil is a little more medicine-y smelling, and it's one of those things that it is, again, it's an antibiotic or antibacterial and antiviral. And so it is really good for things like cold sores. It is good for acne. It is, I'm trying to think of the other stuff. It's great. You can use it as a mouthwash as well as peppermint. So, just put a drop in water. And so the thing is if you have a few of these things with you, my other favorite use for lavender is for burns. So I had firefighters for clients, and one of my clients, he was in the academy, and he had gone through a burn, right, that they had set up, right, and he's going through, and he was kneeling on a metal manhole, and he got third-degree burns on his knees. And so he had skin grafts done. And so I did a blend for him. So if you just lavender alone, if you take lavender, if you burn your on your stove, you burn yourself. You know how you go for ice, some people go for butter, wherever that came from, and somewhere. But people would put on different stuff, right? One drop of lavender will take the sting out of a burn immediately. So for those little kids, it's really good to remember, and also good for bites. For like insect bites, as is the tea tree or the eucalyptus. So, for my firefighter buddy, it was lavender. There's something called helichrysum, frankincense, and myrrh. There's a reason why they were two of the gifts. No kidding. When you study what they are, they're phenomenal. But I made this blend for him, and so I did it in a like a jojoba and a what's the other? Borage oil is another carrier oil that you can put it into. And I made that, and I made a salve for him, and he would put it on his knees. And when he went back to the nurse, with the fire department, the nurse who worked with firefighters after 6 weeks or something, she said, "What did you do to your knees? Like, how come it looks that good?" She's like, in 30 years, she had never seen the healing that happened in that time. And that was from essential oils. They are really powerful.
So now that all of us have a couple different essential oils that we're adding to our shopping list for the weekend, I'm curious, what should we be looking for when it comes to essential oils? Is there like certain ingredients or certain brands that we should be buying? I mean, how do we pick the good ones?
So you should be looking at the bottles. What I've learned is that if you're not buying the highest quality, such as Young Living or other network marketing companies out there selling these, what you're getting in the store is actually not as safe as what you would be buying from these companies. In our Young Living classes, we do a little section where we pass around a peppermint oil that you would buy at Sprouts. And then we pass around the peppermint oil that Young Living sells. And the peppermint oil from the store smells like candy, and you can't ingest it. And Young Living's smells a little bit stronger and less sweet, but that's because it's more natural. And it doesn't smell, as great, but the benefits are there. And it's the purest of the pure ingredients, and it hasn't been altered in any way, and it can be ingested. I use a drop of peppermint actually in my water bottle when I'm working out as a stimulant too. So you really have to be careful what you're buying, because most of the ones at the Sprouts or wherever you would buy them are not safe to ingest, and it'll say that on there, and that's how you know that it's not 100% pure. What I love about Young Living is the soil that they plant their plants in, where they're getting the oils from, has been organic for 50 years. The standard for that, for something being organic, is 5 years. So it's the purest of the pure, and you really have to be careful where you're buying your oils from.
Yeah, and that is a really good point too, because when I was making all my blends and I was doing that, I was buying it specifically from a company that was actually a local company, and same thing. I knew where she sourced them from, and she literally didn't pour them until you ordered them. So and it does make a difference. So for sure, if you're going to ingest, it needs certainly to be that, and just to be aware if you need to do something and you are out in the middle of nowhere, and if your only options is that you can still use it on your hands, but not to ingest it. Yep, great point.
This is also fascinating to me. I love the well-being space in general, and I know a lot of organizations now have adapted or created their own programs internally. And then I feel like just as a society, individuals now are really focused on their personal well-being. They know they have to do their part. And so I think, essential oils is a new way of thinking about it. But I'm curious, outside of, the essential oil space, what are some of your favorite areas of well-being that you love to geek out on?
Ooh, that is a good question. Would you like to go first?
Let me pass it off.
Think about that for a second.
That I like to geek out on. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's what is my whole life about, but well-being. So I geek out a lot of areas. I think it all translates, because you're talking about quality, right? So it's the quality of the oils. It's the quality of the food I eat. I try to eat organic, virtually as much as possible, and certainly anything that I'm buying. Exercise, meditation, drinking. I like to drink. What's the name of the word? It's a machine for water. It's a purified. It's more than purified water, but it's basically pH water. So I mean, I do a lot of different things that I think they just add up. That's the cool thing about it, is just pick one thing. So for this, think of 1 or 2 oils that would be helpful to you, whether you have headaches or what is your thing. But there's so many different places that you can just say, okay, what's my one thing in this area that I'm gonna do? Get an hour sleep, an hour more of sleep, not just 1 hour, an hour more, right?
Healthy eating is key for me. That's definitely something that I'm passionate about, and also buy organic, like you were saying, and whatever I can, and then exercise as well. Kind of having everything work together has been very helpful, but just picking one thing to start out is also great for sure.
Are there any tools, resources, websites, or books that you would encourage people to look at exploring here in 2020?
Well, I'll just do a plug. I would invite everyone to check out the Young Living website, and just see. You don't even have to be there to shop. You can be there to learn. Young Living has a blog. They have all sorts of articles. They have books that they publish, things like that. So I would definitely start there for sure. And then I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. And is it just on essential oils? I'm curious.
Yeah.
It is. Great.
Yeah. My books, I amalgamate, so I have 20 of them that I made it literally into charts. So I can't think of one to specifically recommend. But I think it's just have fun with it. Literally, just what do you like? Do you like flowers, the smell of flowers, or do you like citrus? Do you like cedar? Do you like woodsy stuff? What do you like? Start there, because you're already going to have a resonance for it, and then you could see what the properties are of it and what you can use it for. And that's kind of fun in the discovery of it, where it doesn't need to be, it's not like it's homework. It's just like, I really like this scent. I wonder what healthy properties it has, right? Or you think about, when you were kids and you went into whose home, or you would you walked into somebody was really medicine, you're like, ew. And you walked into somebody else's like, oh, it smells like oranges in here, right? Well, there's reasons why certain scents affect us in certain ways. So I think if you just have fun with it, it makes it, it doesn't make it so heavy, and it's more just an exploration.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm feeling like we have to have like a party or something at some point in time. Invite all of our girlfriends in to learn a little bit more. So maybe stay tuned. Maybe we'll have to host like an A to Z biz like essential oils party or something, because it's fascinating to me, and I feel like it could be beneficial and helpful to a lot of individuals. So as we'd like to wrap up today's conversation, is there anything else that you feel like our listeners should know about the essential oils world?
I would say if you are looking, if you're dealing with a lot of circumstances where you have a lot of any kind of health issues and you're dealing with a lot of medications, typical medications, I would say do some research for whatever condition you're working with and see if there are oils that have properties that could benefit that. Because the nice thing about oils, while they might have contraindications for certain conditions, like if you're pregnant or, like skin sensitivity, but if you're looking for something particular for a situation, you don't have the systemic side effects that you do with pharmaceuticals. So, that is one way to be able to actually reduce the toxicity in your body. If you're taking 5 meds already, and now there's a reason why they keep adding up, and this one's got to fix this one, and this one's got to fix this one. So anywhere that you can back off of that, anywhere that if you have a lot of allergies, I'd invite you to really look at your, what are you cleaning your house with? And then see if you can use essential oils to do that instead. So look and just see where it's simple, where you could trade them out for something that's either toxic in your body or in your home or around your kids or whatever's important.
I would echo that and add to it, do your research. That's something that I am a firm believer in. Most people just kind of, like I said earlier, take the easy way out, but do your research. Read the labels of the things that are in your home and in your medications, and you will be shocked to find what is in there. We're exposed to 700,000 chemicals every day, and essential oils are a great way to, like she said, detox your body and your environment. And there's so much out there. So just do your research and also figure out what maybe just 1 or 2 things that you really want to hone in on and try taking care of yourself, and find ways to do that naturally.
Kathleen, Erin, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you
pleasure.
so much, Lindsay.